How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. Today we're discussing the shortstop position and projecting who will be the starter to open the 2023 season. Now, of course, we have a long offseason ahead of us, headlined by Aaron Judge. We'll see if they make any moves in the pitching rotation. But obviously, shortstop's definitely been a polarizing position for this Yankee team over the past couple of seasons, notably headlined by Hal Steinbrenner's unwillingness to spend at the spot. He's really was a little bit more conservative, eyeing Aaron Judge's future deal, kind of which is referenced last year in sense that they didn't go after a Carlos Correa. They didn't sign a big money guy for a short amount of years and, out after the first season, whatever it might have been. Looking back at that now, maybe we would have preferred to do that and maybe had a better chance at a World Series. IKF definitely didn't hold his own during the playoffs, but now we look ahead to 2023 and maybe you have the two choices here of going with a more expensive route or going with a more cost-efficient route and using your youth. You look at Jeremy Pena, what he did for the Houston Astros, MVP of the World Series, 25 years old. He's a rookie this year. Obviously a little bit older than Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera, but at the end of the day, at a certain age, there's not much difference that it really makes. You've seen 22, 23-year-old guys be excellent at the MLB level before. So what's to say that Peraza or Cabrera can't do that? And they showcased a lot of what they can do this past campaign, notably Oswaldo. But Ryan, before we dive into the shortstop position here and, our projections for that position in 2023, how you do today, my friend?
I'm doing great. I look at this Yankee shortstop kind of fiasco, and I think I'm pretty confident in the talent that they have at the position. Right, for the first time, I think since since Didi was on the Yankees and playing well. We're looking back in 2017, 2018. I feel good about the shortstop position. I know a lot of people are going to point to a very top heavy shortstop market. I mean, again, there's a lot of superstar talent out there, but I can't look at this team and say the Yankees need a shortstop more than they need Aaron Judge, right? I can say the Yankees can, have the cost controlled talent, in Peraza and Volpe and Cabrera. It's one of those, two of those three. How many of those three guys, one of them are going to figure it out at the position this year, right? I mean, it's you don't see three talented prospects, especially considering one of those three is Anthony Volpe. You don't see something where you have three talented prospects and they all bust the same season. So at the same position. So the Yankees are going to have options. They're going to have young options. They're going to have cost controlled options. I really do like what the Yankees have at the position. I know that there are concerns that, the Yankees relying on youth is something that's a risk. It is an inherent risk, but I'll also say it would be a much bigger risk to abandon Aaron Judge and go in and sign a shortstop. I think that's a much bigger risk, right? You're asking someone to play in the New York market, someone who isn't as good as Aaron Judge, is probably not going to age as well as Aaron Judge. I know people are going to say, oh, Aaron Judge's body isn't built to age well. Well, the guy has the best power roll ever, the best raw power, statistically speaking, ever on StatCast record. So, Anthony Volpe, I want to highlight here, not because I'm saying he should start in 2023 on opening day, first game of the season, but he is a really, really, really talented prospect. He is about as good as it gets. He is a really, really, really good player. The high contact skills, the good on base skills, the great speed, great base running. He's a guy who I look at and I say, this is a guy off bat can give me around a 110 weighted runs created plus, steal about 30, maybe 35, maybe 40, maybe 40 bases. And give me, decent contact skills, a decent average, decent on base skills. I was a little concerned that the average wasn't that high in 2022. I like to see that come up a little bit, especially with his hit tool. I think that number should be higher. He's still 21, right? He's going to turn 22 in April. This is, even a 21-year-old in Double A is still pretty young. I still feel the same way about Peraza. I think his hit tool, at least to me, screams he should be hitting for a higher average. He hit for a pretty high average in the Double A, Single A, High A levels in the minors, and Triple A. He hit around 256. I don't look at average a lot, but I will say a guy who's hitting for a high average provides me the good on base percentage, which is why I think it's important that player hits up to what their hit tool suggests they can be. And then with Peraza and Volpe, the power upside, right? Peraza's hit balls. I wrote about this in my article. In 2021, he registered a batted ball of over 112 miles an hour, right? That's right around where Freddie Freeman is, Paul Goldschmidt, those type of players who are elite baseball players. I'm not saying Peraza is going to be, Freddie Freeman at the dish, but what I am saying is the power is there, right? I do think Peraza can hit 20 home runs to the New York Yankees in a full season. The on-base skills are not great in terms of the walk rate. I think the average can sit around 260 if, in a good, and that would be pretty solid with me. And the base running, right? The Yankees are going to lose base running from going from IKF to Volpe or IKF to Peraza. I think they're going to get better defensively. I think they're going to get better offensively. I think I look at Peraza as a 3 to 3.5 WAR player for 2022. I look at Volpe as someone who could potentially be a 5, maybe even 6 WAR player in his best outcome. These are players who are talented, right? Again, I want to reiterate, you don't just become a top prospect by, lollygagging and getting picked out of a hat. You get slated as a top prospect due to your talent level. The Yankees are very talented at the position, so I'm very confident in what they have for 2023. And I haven't said that for a very long time.
Yeah, you referenced an interesting point, and that was the risk factor of using your youth players, right? And you said, the bigger risk is letting Aaron Judge walk. Let me add on to that. The bigger risk is playing IKF again. The bigger risk is investing more in Josh Donaldson, knowing what he already is. The bigger risk here is literally going with guys aren't going to be playing at an extremely high level. We know Peraza is an elite shortstop defensively, right? We saw flashes of that. The guy stepped in during the ALCS in a huge game away and looked like an absolute stud on defense. Imagine what he can do over the course of a full regular season. He's going to be a monster. You know what I mean? Like, this is a player who, at the very least, you're talking about his offensive capabilities. Let's not forget that he's going to be an everyday, fantastic defensive player. And that is something the Yankees severely missed during the playoffs. They lost a playoff game because of IKF's defense, maybe even 2, for being honest. So, that's a situation where you have to take that into account considerably. But let's not forget that Peraza is also a really talented offensive weapon too. He was doing tremendously well toward the end of the season. I think he hit like 301 with a 40% on base rate. Of course, 18 game sample size, not very much, but over a full year with experience, I get the sense that he's going to find his stride. He started off 2022 a little bit slow in the minors, but then he started to heat up and the guy was unstoppable, right? He could go through similar stretches like that at the major league level. And like, are we going to sit here and say he's not going to get on base more than, IKF at 31%? Like, I think that Peraza could get on base just as much as him, if not a little bit more, and offers so much more as a slugger too. And that's really what the Yankees missed from the shortstop position. They got no slugging prowess out of IKF. But then you look at other spots. I had an argument yesterday on Twitter with somebody regarding Gleyber Torres. And I was like, when Anthony Volpe is ready, they're not calling him up to sit on the bench. They're him up to start. They're calling him up to be a permanent figure in that infield. So why not, move Volpe to shortstop, Peraza to, second base, or vice versa? You keep Peraza at shortstop and you put Volpe at second base. And I guess that's my question for you. If they do say, we're bringing up Volpe, he's going to be playing every day. Are you using, and let's say Peraza's killing it at shortstop, he's having just a tremendous season defensively. Are you like, don't want to mess with that? Does not fix what's not broken. You putting Volpe at second base, or are you going to shift it up and, use your, I guess, long-term figure at with Volpe at short?
Yeah, I'll go Volpe at second. You mentioned it with the defense with Peraza. The defense is phenomenal. He can make a lot of throws that, quite frankly, a lot of other shortstops can't make. He plays pretty deep at shortstop as well because of his arm. And something that people don't talk about with, arm strength. If you have a good arm, you can play deeper in your position, and that gives you more range. So you're giving yourself an advantage with range. It's, people are going to say, well, it's not, it's due to positioning. Maybe it's not so as much of the talent level, but he's got great range naturally. And also, who cares how you get good range, right? As long as you put up the defensive production, I really don't care. As long as it's sustainable, I don't care. And so, Peraza can play. He's one of the guys who play the deepest at shortstop. I believe he ranks 6th amongst 144 shortstops to even play the position in 2022. So think about that. This guy is going to be playing deep in the hole. He's going to be, getting to a lot of baseballs that simply IKF can't get to because he can't play deep at shortstop because he doesn't have the arm for it. And if he tries to, he's going to not be able to make the throws on balls he gets to. So, I look at Peraza and I say, I don't want to mess with that. Right. And you mentioned you mentioned killing it. I want to define Peraza's success as it's not him going out and being the MVP. It's him going out, and I define Peraza killing it or having a successful rookie season as gives me a 105 weighted runs created plus, is putting up, Gold Glove caliber defensive numbers, and is giving me positive defensive value. Because, you may look at it and say, oh, well, he's not hitting, he's not killing it with the bat. Sure. But he's probably going to be a 3.5 to 4 WAR player. And for a rookie, that's really valuable. And for the Yankees, I want to clarify, the Yankees have not had a 4 WAR shortstop since Derek Jeter. Okay. Derek Jeter retired in 2014. Okay. So it's been a very long time since the Yankees have had elite production or even very good production from the shortstop position. And that's mainly due to the fact of the defensive shortcomings of a lot of the shortstops the Yankees have rostered over the last, basically last decade, right? I don't want to sit here and say Peraza is going to go out and be a superstar. I don't want to put those lofty expectations on him. But as you mentioned, right, Peraza's glove is phenomenal, and that provides him a very high floor. That very high floor means that he's going to put up a lot of wins above replacement just based on his glove and his base running. The offense, whatever you can get from it, is going to be a boost, and it's going to be the difference between him being an okay shortstop, a stopgap caliber shortstop, and then one that you can call, hey, this is a franchise shortstop. I can put him there every day and pencil him in my lineup for the next 6 years and feel pretty good about it. And Volpe could be an elite defensive second baseman, right? Imagine if, there are plenty of, very, very, very good second baseman, guys who are going to go to the Hall of Fame potentially at the position. The one guy I think of is Jose Altuve for, that elite, great base runner, great hitter, very good defender in his prime. I'm not saying Volpe is going to be Altuve per se, but my point more so is just because Volpe doesn't pan out at shortstop or he doesn't get to play shortstop because Peraza is playing very well, it doesn't mean that Volpe isn't going to be able to go out and have a very successful career. There are Jeff McNeil's a very successful second baseman. Marcus Semien has become a very successful second baseman. LeMahieu, like it or not, when he's healthy, he's a very good second baseman, right? You can get 5 to 6 WAR production from your second baseman. And again, you just have to care about getting wins. You just have to care about, your team providing runs, preventing runs. Those are the only two things you have to care about with your roster. It doesn't matter if, we didn't sign Correa last year because we wanted to put Volpe at shortstop and now Peraza is the shortstop and Volpe is the second baseman. What's wrong with this organization? No, it doesn't work like that. You play your best players, the best position. You put your team in the best position to win. You don't get hung up on things you did 2 years ago. It's about now. It's about 2023. It's about winning games, preventing runs, scoring runs, and the best way to do it, if Peraza is that great of a defender, and if he can hit enough to, stay in the lineup, it'll be with Peraza at shortstop and Volpe at second base.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And ultimately, it's the floor concept that you kind of propose is that, at the very least, you're getting a really good version defensively at shortstop out of Peraza. And, you kind of roll in the future with that. I think projected starter for us right now is Peraza at shortstop. I think most people would agree with that. I'd love to hear your perspectives below, though, in the YouTube comment section. As always, my friends, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy football tomorrow. A lot of stuff yet to be happening in the baseball realm, especially with the winter months coming up. So we get you guys covered with all the latest rumors, speculation, and everything else in between. Much appreciated as always. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.